Another time. Thank you, Chairwoman.
Now I recognize the representative Sara Jacobs from the state of California.
Thank you, Ms. Chairwoman. And thank you all for testifying. Look, I'm glad that we all seem to agree that human rights and democracy are an important part of our national security and foreign policy. I know there are some on this committee who maybe think they aren't, like our chairman Mast. But I believe that it's actually in our national interest to prioritize and center human rights and good governance in our foreign policy because it's in our long-term interest to do so, right? Like, let's take the African continent, the youngest population in the world. 70% of the population is under 30. These young people are the future. Do we want them to remember the U.S. supporting their autocratic regimes or supporting populations who need protection and support to fight for a better future? Obviously, we can have that policy discussion, but what we're talking about now is the grave mistake I think this administration is taking to sideline human rights, democracy, and governance at the State Department. And Madam Chairwoman, I first of all don't believe any of the programs that you cited are actually DRL programs, but also, look, you can cherry pick a random grant or a program here or there and frame them as something that's silly. That's fine, actually. I'm actually fine if you disagree with some of the programs that the Biden administration put in place. They were aligned with Biden's foreign policy priorities, which included supporting human rights, including LGBTQ+ rights. It is totally normal for a new administration to come in and decide that they have different priorities and to terminate those programs that they don't think align with their policy priorities. But that's not what this administration has done. It has actually canceled nearly all human rights programs, including human rights programs that were working on fighting for freedom in China, in Venezuela, and Nigeria. And it is gutting the expertise in the department around human rights. So first, Dr. Quirk, I want to dig into a little bit more the impact of this administration's gutting of democracy programs. Approximately how many of your programs were terminated by this administration?
At the start of the administration, we had roughly, from state and AID, 95 active awards, and all but a handful have been terminated.
And the administration has assured us that this review was being done in a systematic way, that they were focused on waste, fraud, and abuse, that they're just doing due diligence. Did any of those terminations include a rationale for why the program was canceled?
No.
Would you consider any of those programs woke?
I would not. Look, anyone implementing democracy and rights programs over the last 10 years could be accused of doing woke programming insofar as work plan or proposal had to include those words based on that administration's foreign policy. So did IRI documents include those terms? Yes. Did we do any woke programming? Decidedly no.
Were there any allegations of waste, fraud, or abuse in any of your programs?
Not that I'm aware of.
Thank you. I think it's clear that this review was not thoughtful or thorough, and that it was never actually about waste, fraud, abuse, or efficiency. I also want to get to another thing my colleagues like to say. They like to say we shouldn't be doing programs that other governments don't want us to do, because that hurts our diplomacy. Dr. Quirk, a concrete example, the U.S. previously provided significant support to the Syrian civil society under the Assad regime. Would you agree there was bipartisan support for these programs?
I support providing democracy assistance in closed societies because long-standing autocratic regimes, whether it's Cuba or Iran, are stable until they're not. And providing support in these countries is about maintaining a small amount of civic space and ensuring that there are leaders in place that have the skills to lead when that regime falls.
I think that's exactly right. So clearly the Assad regime did not like what the U.S. was funding, but it was in our interest to fund it anyways, and that's true in many, many of these countries. So with my last minute, Congressman Malinowski, could you talk about why supporting civil society and promoting good governance in other countries is so critical to our strategic U.S. foreign policy and national security?
Well, thank you. In addition to being obviously the right thing to do, I think the most important argument for it is that this is our comparative advantage over adversaries like China. It's what makes America special. We're not just a bunch of people defending a piece of soil. We stand for something larger in the world that is attractive that people are inspired by all over the world. Why would we give that up? Mr. Destro compared what's happening maybe inadvertently to a hanging. Yes, that's true. We tied our own noose, we put our neck in it, and we're about to hang ourselves, even as China and all of our adversaries are increasing funding for their influence operations around the world. That would be catastrophic for U.S. national interest. Thank you.
Thank you. I yield back.